बच्चे को इंसाफ मिले और मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए। एक गलत इंसान ने एक मेरे बच्चे को मार दिया।
He was just a 23-year-old boy who had a promising life ahead. But 23-year-old Akshat Garg's life was brutally cut short when his motorbike collided with an SUV, a vehicle that was driving on the wrong side of the road. Akshat Garg was riding his bike on Gurugram's Golf Course Road last Sunday when he met with a fatal head-on collision. Times Now is learning now that the vehicle also had a BJP sticker plastered on it. Naturally, you'd expect the man who was behind the wheel in the black SUV would have faced stringent punishment for his action. His decision to drive on the wrong side of the road snuffed out a young life. But Kuldeep Thakur, the accused in the case, was released by the police. Even worse, he was released on bail on the same day as he was arrested. Not just that, the police has also admitted that the accused hasn't even presented a license yet, and the police may add further sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita in the case.
देखिए, ये दुखद घटना रविवार सुबह 6 बजे के करीब की है, जब मृतक गोल्फ कोर्स रोड पर साइबर सिटी के नज़दीक अपनी मोटरसाइकिल से जा रहा था और सामने से एक ब्लैक कलर की SUV 300 गाड़ी थी जो रॉन्ग साइड आ रही थी और जिसकी वजह से ये एक्सीडेंट हुआ और मौके पर ही मृतक की मृत्यु हुई। देखिए, ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस अभी तक पेश नहीं कर पाया है एक्यूज्ड, तो अभी हमारी इन्वेस्टिगेशन चल रही है। जैसा कि आपने अभी बताया, लाइसेंस की बात है, इन चीज़ों के बारे में भी धाराएं ऐड की जाएंगी और यदि कहीं पर भी ये लगता है कि इंटेंशन उसकी खराब थी तो हम लोग इसमें गैर इरादतन हत्या के सेक्शन भी ऐड करने पड़े तो करेंगे। पर
15 सितंबर को सुबह 6 बजे द्रोणाचार्य मेट्रो स्टेशन से MB की रोड की तरफ से एक बाइक पे मृतक अक्षत है वो जा रहे थे, तो सामने से एक रोड साइड से XUV 300 गाड़ी थी जिससे टकराने से उनकी मृत्यु हो गई, जिस पे हमने अभियोग अंकित किया है जो भी रेलिवेंट सेक्शन है उसमें, और उसी दिन FIR दर्ज करने के उपरांत दोषी को गिरफ्तार किया है, उनका मेडिकल करवाया है और उनके खून के नमूने भी हमने जांच के लिए दिए।
Akshat Garg's inconsolable family has called the decision to release the accused on bail a cruel joke. The family asks why the police is unable to help the grieving family.
यही मांग है कि मेरे बच्चे को इंसाफ मिले और मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए। एक गलत इंसान ने एक मेरे बच्चे को मार दिया, बस मुझे इससे कुछ नहीं है। क्यों उसको छोड़ा गया, मेरे को यही है कि क्यों छोड़ा गया, उसको क्यों छोड़ा गया कि भाई मेरा बच्चा चला गया, लेकिन वो आराम से सोया है उस रात, वो आराम से सोया, क्यों पुलिस ने उसको छोड़ा। बस मुझे यही बोलना है कि भाई मेरा बच्चा जो हमारा परिवार चला, हमारे बीमार माँ बाप की सेवा करता, छोटी बहन को पालता, हमारे पालने वाला हमारा बच्चा चला गया और पुलिस क्यों नहीं हेल्प कर रही है हमारी, क्यों नहीं हेल्प कर रही। और मुझे कुछ नहीं और कहना, मुझे कुछ नहीं कहना।
In fact, Times Now has also tracked down the vehicle that was involved in the accident, and the extent of the damage just gives you a sense of the deadly impact that took the life of 23-year-old Akshat Garg.
This was a motorbike which was being driven by Akshat Garg on Sunday morning, which collided with a vehicle which was coming at a very high speed. And finally, after the Times Now coverage, the Gurugram police have accepted that there's a need to add more stringent sections in the FIR. Police investigation is also showing that if at all needed, certainly they will be adding sections of BNS which will be of negligent act which result into death. This is a vehicle which had a Bihar registration number BR07BE5797, which was driven by a man who could not provide driving license to the police, and police can also add section. This particular sticker, which is on the front bonnet of the car, is also one of the reasons because of which the case was given a political color, that whether Bharatiya Janata Party was shielding the accused or not. But on the other side, the police is now on record saying that we are not going to give any kind of shelter or protection or extra mileage to any individual. Because of the impact, since the vehicle was coming from the wrong carriageway, coming from the right direction, where the car hit Akshat, and his helmet smashed on the windshield of the car. There were two individuals who were driving this particular vehicle, which is right now seen clearly empty. The key eyewitness has also said that we are not aware that whether the accused were in a drunken condition or not, but now the police has finally accepted that they will be adding more sections of BNS, which could be of negligent act, which can result to death in this particular case.
Let's open this up and go across to our guests. We're joined by Arvind Kumar Jain, former DGP UP, Rizwan Siddiqui, advocate, and Anurag Kulshresht, founder and head of Tracks Road Safety. It's an NGO. Good evening to all of you. I want to begin with Arvind Kumar Jain. What is the protocol and why is it that every time we see that the cops fail to follow that protocol? The most common thing and even tragic than the accident is the fact that the victim's family is often seen running from pillar to post to get justice.
No, it is not justified at all, in my opinion. When the vehicle which hit the biker was on the wrong lane and he has not been able to produce a driving license so far, the Gurugram police should have put very stringent sections against that man. Court might strike down one or two sections, but at least it was expected from Gurugram police that the stringent sections, initially it was in IPC section 304, homicide not amounting to murder, should have been put against this man because he is driving in a very rash manner. He is driving on a wrong lane and he has hit a young biker. So action should have been taken against him under severe sections of BNS instead of putting section 106. Other sections are all right, but why was he released on bail? In the new BNS, provisions have been made of very stringent provisions have been made on unidentified vehicles which hit on the road and killing people. So murder can be a motive. In this case, I don't think murder is a motive, but very rash and negligent driving in a wrong lane. So why is it that in the
first instance itself, the cops did not register a case with stringent sections? We fail to understand that. And Rizwan Siddiqui, every time such an incident happens, everybody discusses how stringent the laws should be. But what we don't realize is that as long as there's no implementation, there's no point of having a stringent law. If those who have, the responsibility of enforcing those stringent laws do not act on time or as per those laws, how are we benefiting from the stringent laws?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. See, the state is represented by the police in criminal matters because police is one of the law enforcement agencies. And in a case like this, which is normally headed by the police officers, it is the duty of the state to ensure that nobody escapes punishment. So the first step that they're supposed to do is, when this video was available and even, Panchnama, which must have been done, showed that the person was driving on the wrong side of the road. And with such evidence, which is admissible evidence under Section 65B, also electronic evidence, clearly showed and demonstrated that the person was driving on the wrong side, then under no circumstances could they have put any less stringent punishment as seen in this case. See, I will not say, I will not mince words, but this clearly shows, the evidence which was ignored, the point that the gentleman did not provide his own license. Yes. So these two things which were definitely ignored for some obvious reasons while making the case clearly demonstrates that they must have ignored for some kind of motives. The police officers definitely had some kind of motive because they cannot be so ignorant.
But that's a very important question. Motive? Was there a motive? Was there pressure? That needs to be found out. But let me bring in Anurag Kulshresht as well. Rizwan Siddiqui was talking about how this is a big evidence that the cops should have immediately taken note of and acted upon. But the friend of the deceased says, despite the police witnessing the footage, they did not immediately take it as evidence.
Yeah, well said, Swati. There are few things which I just want to point out, like as a point of road safety as a whole. Our safe system approach says that the system to minimize the impact of the crash by providing the safe road as well as the stringent actions that is by enforcement agencies. Now our police is totally untrained entirely nationally, not Gurgaon police. They are doing the investigation in such manner. There's no proper crash investigation and related to other factors also, ignored factors. Now I am just pointing out the two things. Video is clearly showing it's a rash driving by the bikers, group of bikers. They are at a speed of around 100-120 on a speed where this speed is mentioned around 50 on Golf Course Road. They are at a speed of 100 and 120. You can see that biker is also coming from the third lane and entering to the first lane like they are moving on this racing track. Number two, I think all bikers group, the entire biker groups must be booked also for rash driving. Number two, that because our infrastructure is very poor over there and not here but everywhere. It's a curved road, and on the curved road, if a person is coming from this curve and to that curve, visibility must be clear here. And if you'll see at the divider, that is the median, there's a greenery or the vegetation is up to 5 feet, which is against the law IRC codes. So I think the party should be there for this construction agency, that is GMDA also. And the lack of this actions by the police, why they are focusing on just death and this accused as well as the victim. Both the parties must be focused simultaneously because these are the common cases.
Okay. One other thing.
Happening everywhere. This is not the first case when we are discussing
one other
on such
thing
point.
that has come to fore, Mr. Jain, is that Kuldeep Thakur, the accused in this case, had multiple challans for wrong side driving, according to reports coming in. And the fact that he was allowed to go on proved to be fatal for someone else.
There must have been political pressure. I think he was working for some media company which is working for BJP. There was a sticker of BJP also. I don't agree with the previous speaker that police is not trained. Police is trained. This is a pure and simple case. There is definite knowledge with every policeman that how such cases should be dealt with. And if they are not dealing against the offenders under proper sections, they are under pressure. They are under pressure from the ruling party, which is in government in Haryana also. This should not have been done.
You know, there was a BJP sticker on the car, but has it been established that there was pressure on the police? Rizwan Siddiqui, is it suspicious because of the manner in which the police acted?
Yeah. What my learned co-panelist just discussed, giving both sides of the argument, is something that is done in the court, not done by police. Police officers have to act on the scene of crime and they have to collect from the scene of crime and not assume and presume what was the size of the road or the dimension or the curve or the size of the tree or what happened. They are supposed to, because there is a death here. Okay, if there is a counter case to be filed, then in the counter case, those other things can come up. But we are talking about an FIR which has been registered because of a death cause. So the police is not supposed to assume the position of a judge and get into cross arguments. They are only supposed to collect evidence and file an FIR based on the evidence and based on the panchnama that they do. Now in this case, whatever the argument may be, you know, from the point of the defense to more in the court, what my learned co-panelist was just arguing about other things in defense. But in this case, the police is not supposed to assume that position. Now, what I see is that all the police officers, including a Havaldar level man, would know when there is a death cause, because this is not the first death in our history that this is the first case of death and police officers are not trained. This is happening on routine basis, daily basis. Death on road is a very common thing. On highways, it is a very common thing. So in such a case, when they can see that the man has not produced license, the man has got multiple challans, the man has been driving on the wrong side of the road. Now, whatever was the reason, it has resulted into death. And it is, since it has resulted into death, it is the duty of the police officers to ensure that no evidence is tampered, no witnesses are influenced. So therefore, the man should not
in the first place to identify and acknowledge that there is a video there. There is a video evidence present. The friends are alleging that they did not immediately seize it. Biggest question is why?
So that is why I'm answering this particular. Just allow me another 30 seconds. I'll just tell you what. So now when you let out a person on bail so casually because of the fact that the provisions that you've invoked under the provision of law was so light that the person could, just be allowed to go home. Now this person will definitely, hold the position of influencing witnesses, of tampering with evidences. So who's going to be responsible for all of this? So it is the paramount duty of the police, which represents the state as a law enforcement agency, that they should ensure that justice is delivered, because they are the people
Justice
who
is
do
delivered.
investigation.
New traffic rules are in place. The laws are even more stringent now. Despite that, if there is no implementation on ground, then there'll be no change. Unfortunately, people may continue to lose their lives in such incidents, and the accused may even go scot-free. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast.